Unit 3 Information Security. Overview. 3.0 Introduction. Information security is a matter of great concern. To protect information, different techniques are used by the organizations, especially when the information is used on the internet and it moves in the cyber world from one compute to another. Computer crossing different geographical boundaries. There are chances of information theft on the way by some malicious users. To protect information against such threats, the data protection is a must. Here in this unit, some techniques are discussed to provide the overview of how we can safeguard vital information against such threats. 3.1 Objectives. After studying this unit, you should be able to understand information security and principle. Need of information security. Security model, iPhone security issues, security model and architecture, and risk management. 3.2 Information security. Information security deals with the protection of information and information systems from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, perusal, inspection, recording, OS destruction. The terms information security, computer security and information assurance are used in each other's place. The fields mentioned above are interrelated to each other and have common objective of protecting the confidentiality, integrity and availability of information. However, some differences exists between them. The differences among them are based on the approach to the subject, the methodologies used and the areas of concentration. Information security takes care of confidentiality, integrity and availability of data, regardless of the type of data like electronic, print or other forms. The main focus of computer security is ensuring the availability and correct operation of a computer system without concern for the information stored or processed by the computer. Governments, military, corporations, financial institutions, hospitals and private businesses amass a great deal of confidential information about their employees, customers, products, research and financial status. Majority of the information is now gathered, processed and stored on electronic computers and moved to other computers across the networks. Now if the confidential information about a business, customers or finances or new product line leak out into the hands of a competitor, such a breach of security could lead to a great loss in business, law suits or even bankruptcy of the business. Keeping this information private is a business requirement and also in many cases also an ethical and legal requirement. For the individual, information security has a significant effect on privacy, which is viewed very differently in different cultures. Information security has evolved significantly in recent years. There are multiple ways of getting entry into the field as a career. It consists of many areas for specialization, including securing networks and allied infrastructure, securing applications and databases, security testing, information systems auditing, business continuity planning and digital forensics science, etc. History. Since the early days of writing, heads of state and military commanders analyzed that it was important to provide some mechanism to protect the privacy of written correspondence and to have some way to detect tampering. Julius Caesar is credited with the invention of the Caesar cipher EA 50 BC, which was created in order to prevent his secret messages from being read should a message fall into the wrong hands. World War II brought about many advancements in information security and marked the beginning of the professional field of information security. The end of the 20th century and early years of the 21st century saw rapid advancements in telecommunications, computing hardware and software and data encryption. The availability of smaller, more powerful and less expensive computing equipment made electronic data processing within the reach of small business and the home user. These computers quickly became interconnected through a network, generically called the Internet or World Wide Web. The rapid growth and widespread use of electronic data processing and electronic business conducted through the Internet, along with numerous occurrences of international terrorism, fueled the need for better methods of protecting the computers and the information they store, process and transmit. The academic disciplines of computer security, information security and information assurance emerged along with numerous professional organizations, all sharing the common goals of ensuring the security and reliability of information systems. 3.3 Basic Principles. Key Concepts. The core principles of information security for over 20 years are confidentiality, integrity and availability. There is never-ending debate about extending this classic trio. Other principles such as accountability have also been proposed for addition. It has been pointed out that issues such as non-repudiation do not fit well within the three core concepts, and as regulation of computer systems has increased, legality is becoming a key consideration for practical security installations. The 6 atomic elements of information was an alternative model for classic CIA, proposed by Don Parker in 2002. The elements are confidentiality, possession, integrity, authenticity, availability and utility. The merits of the Parkerian hexad are a subject of debate amongst security professionals. Confidentiality. Confidentiality refers to protection of the exposure of information to unauthorized individuals or systems. For example, a credit card transaction on the Internet requires the credit card number to be transmitted from the buyer to the merchant and from the merchant to a transaction processing network. The system attempts to enforce confidentiality by encrypting the card number during transmission, by limiting the places where it might appear and by restricting access to the places where it is stored. If an unauthorized party obtains the card number in any way, a breach of confidentiality has occurred. Breaking of confidentiality may have different forms. As an example, if we allow someone to look over our shoulder at our computer screen while we have private data displayed on it, could be a breaking of confidentiality. If a laptop computer containing sensitive information about a company's employees is stolen or sold, it could result in a breaking of confidentiality. If someone is narrating private information on the telephone, that is again a breach of confidentiality if the caller is an unauthorized body. Confidentiality is mandatory for maintaining the privacy of the people whose personal information a system holds. Integrity. In information security, integrity means that data should remain as it was. It should not be modified. This is not the same thing as referential integrity in databases, although it can be viewed as a special case of consistency as understood in the classic ACID model of transaction processing. Integrity is not met when a message is actively changed in transit. Information security systems typically provide message integrity in addition to data confidentiality. Availability. Any information system is successful if it serves the purpose it is intended to do. In this case, the information must be available when it is needed. Computing systems are used to store and process the information. The security controls used to protect it and the communication channels used to access it must be functioning correctly. The aim of high availability systems is to remain available at all times, preventing service disruptions due to power outages, hardware failures and system upgrades. Ensuring availability also involves preventing denial of service attacks. Non-repudiation. In law, non-repudiation implies one's intention to fulfill their obligations to a contract. It states that one party of a transaction cannot refuse having received a transaction, nor can the other party refuse having sent a transaction. Electronic commerce uses technology such as digital signatures and public key encryption to establish authenticity and non-repudiation. 3.4 Need of information security. Lifeblood of all organizations is information, and it can exist in multiple forms. It can be printed or written on paper, stored electronically, transmitted by mail or by electronic means, shown in films or spoken in conversation. If we talk about today's world, in this competitive business environment, such information is constantly under threat from many sources. The sources can be internal, external, accidental, or malicious. With the advent of new technologies to store, transmit and retrieve information, we have all invited increased numbers and types of threats. Acknowledging all the above-mentioned points, we feel that there is a need to establish a comprehensive information security policy within all organizations, in order to ensure the confidentiality, integrity and availability of both vital corporate information and customer information. The Standard for Information Security Management System, ISMS, ISO, LEC 2700I, 2005 has fast become one of the world's established biggest sellers. 3.5 About security model. Computer and information security forms major portion in any enterprise. Each area has security vulnerabilities and, hopefully, some corresponding solutions that provide the security level a better protection. Not understanding the different areas and security levels of network devices, operating systems, hardware, protocols, and applications can cause security vulnerabilities that can affect the environment as a whole. There are two fundamental concepts in computer and information security at a security model, which designs how security is to be implemented, in other words, providing a blueprint and the architecture of a computer system, which fulfills this blueprint. A security policy guides that how data is accessed, required level of security in what actions should be taken if in case these requirements are not met. The policy outlines the expectations of a computer system or device. A security model is a statement that outlines the requirements necessary to properly support and implement a certain security policy. If a security policy dictates that all users must be identified, authenticated and authorized before accessing network resources, the security model might lay out an access control matrix that should be constructed so that it fulfills the requirements of the security policy. If a security policy states that no one from a lower security level should be able to view or modify information at a higher security level, the supporting security model will outline the necessary logic and rules that need to be implemented to ensure that under no circumstances can a lower level subject access a higher level object in an unauthorized manner. A security model provides a deeper explanation of how a computer operating system should be developed to properly support a specific security policy. 3.6 Path to Effective Information Security Management. Following are the key steps that every company implementing an information security management system should consider. Greater than. Purchase the standard. Before you can begin preparing for your application, you will require a copy of the standard. You should read this and make yourself familiar with it. Review free guidance documents, publications and software. There are a wide range of free guidance documents, quality publications and software tools designed to help you understand, implement and become registered to an information security management system. Consider training. One can take help of training courses available that help how to implement and assess your information security management system. Assemble a team and agree your strategy. Before starting, we should begin the entire implementation process by preparing our organizational strategy with top management. At this point of time, we should determine the scope of your registration, whether the system will be adopted company-wide or by one or more departments. Review consultancy options. We can discuss this matter with independent consultant and receive advice on how to implement information security management system. Undertake a risk assessment. During this phase, we should study and review all potential security ruptures. This should not relate solely to IT systems, but should encompass all sensitive information within your organization. Develop a policy document. This will demonstrate management support and commitment to the information security management system process. Develop supporting literature. Put together a statement of applicability and procedures to support your security policy. This will cover a range of areas including asset clarification and control, personal security, physical and environmental security, and business continuity management. Choose a certification body. The certification body is a third party, such as BSI Management Systems, who come and assess the effectiveness of our information security management system against the industry best practice standard, ISO, IEC 27001, 2005. BSI issues a certificate if the ISMS meets the requirements of the standard. Choosing a certification body can be a complex issue as there are so many operating in the market. Factors to consider include industry and auditing experience, geographic coverage, and service level offered. The key is to find the certification body who can best meet your requirements. A great place to start is by contacting BSI Management Systems. Implement your information security management system. The key to implementation is communication and training. During the implementation phase, everyone begins operating to the procedures of the management system. Gain registration, certification. We should arrange our previous assessment with our registrar. At this stage, the registrar will study our information security management system and determine whether you should be recommended for registration or not. Continual assessment. Once we have received registration and have been awarded our certificate, we can start to advertise our success and promote our business. Our ISMS will be checked from time to time by our registrar to make sure that it continues to meet the requirements of the standard. 3.7 iPhone application development security issues. Since Apple released the iPhone in 2007, it ruling in the mobile phones market. In fact, Canalys forecasts Apple capturing 21.3% QF the mobile market in 2010. The iPhone came across very less significant platform security issues along the way. There has been a continual effort on jailbreaking the iPhone and unlocking it. Security news related to the iPhone pays more attention on the platform itself, while less attention has been paid to individual applications in the App Store. What are the most common security risks affecting iPhone applications? Based on our experience testing iPhone applications, we have compiled a top 5 list of security issues for developers. Sensitive data unprotected at rest. Mobile applications rely a lot on the software functionality to provide its users with what they absolutely need when they are on the move. Many applications involve representing or even storing sensitive data. Many iPhone applications read and display sensitive data, such as medical lab test results or personal and business-oriented financial data. For example, the Care 360 mobile iPhone application allows doctors and medical professionals to retrieve and view lab results from Quest Diagnostics. Many large banks also provide mobile applications to provide better user experience than the Safari web browser for online banking. The work of such applications involves handling sensitive data most users will ever possess. Additionally, many applications also provide a variety of "Remember Me" functionality. Protecting this data from malicious adversary is important for both the user and the application provider. The solution to this problem is careful architecture design with a risk-based approach to help decide the security posture the application has towards data storage. Once we very well know the risk, it is very important to protect sensitive data that must reside on the device using a combination of strong cryptography and the Apple Keychain services or equivalent cryptographic constructs to protect this sensitive data while at rest. Buffer overflows and other C programming issues. The iPhone development platform is based on Objective-C. Objective-C provides a much cleaner environment for the programmer when compared to C. It helps in preventing many common C programming errors, which can result in exploitable bugs and flaws in an application if a developer writes an application purely from within the confines of Objective-C using the Foundation, UI Kit and other pure Objective-C frameworks. The application is relatively safe from most of the security issues that afflict C programs. For example, the NSString class prevents buffer overflow bugs effectively in most cases, assuming there are no flaws in the underlying NSString implementation. Another advantage of Objective-C environment of the iPhone is that all object allocations go on the heap, which helps prevent stack overflows since directly programmer-controlled memory does not live on the stack. The developer has to take care of allocation and deallocation of objects. But the complexity is largely hidden from the developer compared to AC implementation. However, some parts of the iPhone SDK require the developer to return to the standard C. This is an all bets are off proposition that eliminates the safety provided by the Objective-C platform. It is common to build and include C libraries in an iPhone application to avoid re-implementing code. This means going from relatively safe Objective-C libraries and moving to less safe C-style strings for libraries like SQLite, a core part of many iPhone applications. And buffer overflows are one of the various issues that plague C programs. Vulnerabilities can stem from heap overflows, format string attacks, integer overflows and other more subtle issues that are relevant when developing in C for iPhone. Generally avoiding C libraries when at all possible is ideal. However, when C and C libraries are required, developers must follow best practices derived over the lifetime of the C programming language. When observing best practices, mistakes may still occur. Development teams must use safe string libraries and individual developers must understand the risks and vulnerabilities that can occur when writing code in C. Secure communications to servers. Every useful application that processes sensitive user data will connect back to some server component. Developers have to face the challenge of having to protect sensitive data in transmission as it traverses the internet and sometimes even insecure wireless media. The data is protected using encryption that must be implemented correctly. Effective encryption entails avoiding reinventing the wheel and using trusted libraries that have been thoroughly reviewed. The iPhone SDK is largely like any other SDK regarding its SSL libraries. Developers should be aware, while using the URL loading library as the way differs from application to application. The default state of operation for the URL loading library is to fail on an invalid server certificate. However, during development it is often required to use an invalid certificate. Failure to use the libraries properly can result in weak client-to-server communications that allow a malicious adversary to compromise client-to-server communications. Patching your application. The App Store could be your worst enemy. A proper risk assessment of an organization's tolerance for risk should be conducted to determine if the App Store policy will match up with and be acceptable for any given application. Apple maintains tight control over the App Store and it will not be possible to issue a release in a very short, 24 to 48 hour period in most cases. The Apple approval process generally takes at least a week. If the application has any issues that would cause it to fail, the approval process of the new build could take weeks to reach customers. Unfortunately, the organization can help a bit regarding the risk associated with this issue. The best bet is to make sure that developers have a clear understanding of App Store policy and that the testing process is thorough and proactively identifies issues that would cause the application to fail the approval process. The platform itself. An important component of application security is user awareness. Users often look and treat their mobile, internet-connected devices with a different level of care compared to a laptop or desktop. Password policies, antivirus software, and at least some awareness that their computer may contain sensitive data, and that it requires protection is the norm for most users. Mobile devices are often lost, not password protected, and get treated with a lower level of security awareness. This means that a user could easily lose their phone to a malicious individual and have their sensitive data compromised. Thus, it is necessary to attempt to make a mobile user aware of the risks they are exposed to through well-constructed documentation and application design. A mobile user who is more security conscious may take efforts to secure their environment more, such as by using a PIN or passphrase to secure their device and subscribing to Apple services that can help locate and disable lost or stolen devices. From a developer's point of view, the important thing is to alert the user when they are making security-sensitive actions via visual cues and/or dialogues, text. Users will generally get attracted towards whatever is quickest and easiest for them. 3.8 Application Development Security. Application development security is a critical enterprise priority. Today applications are weak link in enterprise security. Hackers now use software vulnerabilities or malicious code and backdoors embedded in application code to gain access to companies' private information. Application development security forms important part in protecting the enterprise. Organizations must employ solutions to scan code, seeking to find both malicious code as well as flaws in software that could create vulnerabilities. Application development security products have high cost and maintenance, and most are unable to scan an entire application. Because the software today is often combination of code from a variety of sources, the source code is simply unavailable for study. That's why Veracode has developed an innovative new method for achieving application development security. The industry's only automated, on-demand, application security testing solution. Veracode delivers cost-effective, on-demand, application development security. Veracode was founded by security experts from its stake, Guardant, VeriSign and Symantec to provide a more effective and cost-efficient way to ensure application development security, and Veracode Security Review delivers on both counts. Security Review is built on the software as a service model, delivering code analysis as an on-demand service. That means organizations can avoid capital investment in software security assurance products, thus allowing companies to easily scale. Secure software development testing and Security Review uses multiple testing techniques to offer the most comprehensive secure software testing solution in the industry today. In addition to dynamic analysis for web services security and manual penetration testing, Veracode uses static binary analysis to scan binary compiled byte code instead of source code, allowing Security Review to provide 100% coverage of any application. No other testing solution provides coverage this complete. Enhance security and speed development with automated application testing. Veracode Security Review enables organizations to speed secure software development WHJLE, improving security at the same time. Security Review uses a milestone-based approach to testing that embeds secure coding best practices in the software development life cycle. The result is reduced costs, more secure software and shorter development cycles. Because Veracode is a truly outsourced service, developers can be freed to focus on building secure applications. Team meet project deadlines instead of learning and maintaining testing products. And with testing results prioritized by risk level and ease of remediation and delivered in an online environment, globally distributed teams of developers can collaborate to fix flaws quickly and cost-effectively. 3.9 Security Model and Architecture. Computer and information security consist of many areas within an organization. Each area is susceptible to security vulnerabilities and, hopefully, some corresponding solutions that raise the security level and provide better protection. not taking into account the different areas and security levels of network devices, operating systems, hardware, protocols and applications can cause security vulnerabilities that can affect the environment as a whole. Two fundamental concepts in computer and information security are the security model, which outlines how security is to be implemented, in other words, providing a blueprint and the architecture of a computer system, which fulfills this blueprint. A security policy guides how data is accessed, what level of security is required, and what actions should be taken when these requirements are not met. The policy shows the expectations of a computer system or device. A security model is a statement that outlines the requirements. 3.10 Enterprise Information Security Architecture, ASA. Enterprise Information Security Architecture, ASA, is the study of implementing a comprehensive and rigorous method for describing a current and/or future structure and behavior for an organization's security processes, information security systems, personnel and organizational subunits, so that they align with the organization's core goals and strategic direction. Although often associated strictly with information security technology, it relates more broadly to the security practice of business optimization in that it addresses business security architecture, performance management and security process architecture as well. Within the financial institutions around the world, enterprise information security architecture is becoming a common practice. In order to align business strategy and IT security, information security architecture is used. As such, enterprise information security architecture allows traceability from the business strategy down to the underlying technology positioning. Gartner, in their white paper called Incorporating Security into the Enterprise Architecture Process, first formally positioned enterprise information security. This was published on the 24th of January 2006. After this publication, security architecture has transformed from being a silo-based architecture to an enterprise-focused solution that incorporates business, information and technology. The picture below shows a one-dimensional view of enterprise architecture as a service-oriented architecture. It represents that security is added to enterprise architecture family. Business architecture, information architecture and technology architecture used to be called BIT for short. Now with security as part of the architecture family, it has become BITS. Security architectural change imperatives now include things like business roadmaps, legislative and legal requirements, technology roadmaps, best practices, industry trends, visionaries, goals, provide structure, coherence and cohesiveness, must enable business to security alignment, defined top-down beginning with business strategy, ensure that all models and implementations can be traced back to the business strategy, specific business requirements and key principles, provide abstraction so that complicating factors, such as geography and technology religion, can be removed and reinstated at different levels of detail, only when required. Establish a common language for information security within the organization. Methodology. The study of enterprise information security architecture involves creating an architecture security framework to describe a series of current, intermediate, and target reference architectures and applying them to align programs of change. These frameworks describe in detail the roles organizations should have, entities, and relationships that exist or should exist to perform a set of business processes. The aim of framework is to provide a rigorous technique of classification and the study of nature and existence that clearly identifies what processes a business performs and detailed information about how those processes are executed and secured. The result is a set of an object that describe in varying degrees of detail exactly what and how a business operates and what security controls are required. The objects are often geographical. The levels of detail will change according to affordability and other practical Considerations: decision makers are well equipped with the means to make informed decisions about where to invest resources, where to realign organizational goals and processes, and what policies and procedures will support core missions or business functions. A strong enterprise information security architecture process helps to answer basic questions like: is the current architecture supporting and adding value to the security of the organization? How might a security architecture be modified so that it adds more value to the organization? Based on what we know about what the organization wants to accomplish in the future, will the current security architecture support or hinder that? Enterprise information security architecture implementation consists of documenting the organization's strategy and other necessary details such as where and how it operates. The next step is documenting discrete core competencies, business processes, and how the organization interacts with itself and with external parties, such as customers, suppliers, and government entities. Having documented the organization's strategy and structure, the architecture process then flows down into the discrete information technology components such as organization charts, activities, and process flows of how the IT organization operates, organization cycles, periods, and timing, suppliers of technology hardware, software, and services, applications and software inventories and diagrams, interfaces between applications, that is, events, messages, and data flows, intranet, extranet, internet, e-commerce, EDI links with parties within and outside of the organization, data classifications, databases, and supporting data models, hardware, platforms, hosting, servers, network components, and security devices and where they are kept, local and wide area networks, internet connectivity diagrams. It should be noted that whenever possible, all the above mentioned points should relate explicitly to the organization's strategy, goals, and operations. The enterprise information security architecture should document the current state of the technical security components listed above, as well as an ideal world desired future state. And finally, a target future state, which is the result of engineering trade-offs and compromises vs. the ideal. Mostly the outcome is a nested and interrelated set of models, usually managed and maintained with specialized software available on the market. Such exhaustive mapping of IT dependencies has notable overlaps with both metadata in the general IT sense and with the ITIL concept of the configuration management database. Maintaining the accuracy of such data can be a significant challenge. In addition to the models and diagrams, a set of best practices which are objected at securing adaptability, scalability, manageability, etc. These systems engineering best practices are not unique to enterprise information security architecture, but they are considered important to the success nonetheless. They involve such things as componentization, asynchronous communication between major components, standardization of key identifiers, and so on. Appropriate positioning of information security architecture is required in an organization. This is analogous to city planning. An intermediate outcome of an architecture process is a comprehensive inventory of business security strategy, business security processes, organizational charts, technical security inventories, system and interface diagrams, and NA-org topologies, and the explicit relationships between them. The inventories and diagrams are merely tools that support decision making. But this is not sufficient. It must be a living process. The organization must design and implement a process that ensures continual movement from the current state to the future state. The future state will generally be a combination of one or more closing gaps that are present between the current organization strategy and the ability of the IT security dimensions to support it. Closing gaps that are present between the desired future organization strategy and the ability of the security dimensions to support it. Necessary upgrades and replacements that must be made to the security Architecture based on supplier viability, age and performance of hardware and software, capacity issues, known or anticipated regulatory requirements and other issues not driven explicitly by the organization's functional management. On a regular basis, the current state and future state are redefined to account for evolution of the architecture, changes in organizational strategy and purely external factors such as changes in technology and customer, vendor, government requirements. High-level security architecture framework. Enterprise information security architecture frameworks is a subpart of enterprise architecture frameworks. If one had to reduce the complexity of the conceptual abstraction of enterprise information security architecture within a generic framework, the picture on the right would be acceptable as a high-level conceptual security architecture framework. Other open enterprise architecture frameworks are greater than the U.S. Department of Defense (DOFA) Architecture Framework (DODAFT), Extended Enterprise Architecture Framework (A2AF) from the Institute for Enterprise Architecture Developments (L-tilde), Federal Enterprise Architecture of the United States Government (FEA), Capgemini's Integrated Architecture Framework, the UK Ministry of Defence (MOD) Architecture Framework (MODAF), NI Enterprise Architecture Framework, Open Security Architecture, Information Assurance Enterprise Architectural Framework (IAEAF), SABSA Framework and Methodology, Service-Oriented Modeling Framework (SOMF), the Open Group Architecture Framework (TOGAF), Zachman Framework, Relationship to other IT disciplines. Enterprise information security architecture forms very important part of the information security technology governance process at any organization of significant size. Most of the companies are making use of a formal enterprise security architecture process to support the governance and management of IT. However, as stated in the starting of this article, principally it relates more broadly to the practice of business optimization in that it addresses business security architecture, performance management and process security architecture as well. Enterprise information security architecture also deals with IT security portfolio management and metadata in the enterprise IT sense. Information security professionalism. Information security professionalism represents a collection of knowledge that is required in the people working in information security and similar fields, which should have been eventually demonstrated through certifications from well-respected organizations. It consists of the education process which is needed to perform different tasks in these fields. The usage of information technology is always increasing and is spreading to vital infrastructure for civil and military organizations. Everybody can get involved in the cyber war. It is crucial that a nation can have skilled professionals to defend